Okay, this is regarding record keeping of your casino winnings. And this needs to be done the very first day you start playing. Otherwise, later on, you're going to be really frustrated because you didn't start doing this. You need to know exact casino you went to because you're not going to remember anything. Well, a lot of people say, "Oh, I only have so many casinos, and I'll remember." Yeah, right. You will not. And so it's crucial that you understand what's generating income and what is not. So regardless of how much you're making, if you certain games are cutting into your profits, what what is the sense of doing this? So you have to identify these games in exact details. So you need to have the exact date. Okay, you need to have the exact name of the casino. Is very important. Okay, just because you made money on a Saturday, it's not going to tell you anything. Okay, and the exact game you need to keep track. It is a little difficult when you're in, in the middle of a play, but maybe when you take a break, you can write down what games you played and how much you made. But it has to be itemized and get it on an Excel sheet so that you can put blackjack as one column or row, whatever. You can put craps, you can put slots, you can put whatever you're playing, and that way you can keep because everybody without exception is going to go through certain type of uh, you know uh, losing streaks, and there's no way to avoid it. But the question is it really a losing streak, or is it because one of your games isn't perfect and you're just losing on it? In other words, you're taking all the money you're making from blackjack and dumping it into slot machines. But that would be disastrous. So that means you're not finding the right machines. So quit for a while. The bottom line is income. What do you need the slot machines for if you're making money, right? So, but but at the same time, if you are making money on the slot machines, then an accurate accounting will tell you if that's the case, right? And unfortunately, you can't really miss any records. You can't just forget to do this. You have to somehow use a calendar or a Google or something and remind yourself every day. And best time to do it is when you get home from the casino, not the next day. And write down exact details, and maybe once every week, you can do the totals. So how much total you made on blackjack, how much, and compare these and see what's going on with your games. If you don't do this, it's you're going to run into a lot of trouble because when you hit a losing streak, you all of a sudden you might think that this is not working, but it is working, except that you're not keeping track. And certain things are working, certain things are not. In other words, you might have a perfect blackjack game and you're constantly making money, okay? But maybe you're losing it on the craps game and you're just playing too much. Your craps game, as we spoke, you make money and you run, go away. You just can't keep stand. It is kind of, especially when you first start, it's kind of a social game. So sometimes people get to know other players and they get into stories and right in the middle of the stories they're losing money. It's not it's not a social game. It's something that you make money, and then after a while the table kind of gets cold and everybody starts throwing sevens. And if you stick around, everything you made is going to be lost. So maybe that's what's happening. Um, Even if you're game is perfect, it doesn't matter because you can't just stand there and just bet on yourself. You end up betting on other shooters and stuff, and they're screwing up, and you're paying for it. Okay, and if you're not keeping track, this is not a kind of business where you take all your hundreds in an envelope and then that's your bankroll. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to know exactly, because it's tax time too. You have to have a exact record keeping, and so you need to know if it is it the craps game that's cutting into your income. Is it the slot machines? You have to know in detail what's going on in that. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, number two is, now that you know what's causing losses, you need to go into more details. And this is why it's also important, besides the date, you need the times too. Okay, because if you are, for instance, let's say all of a sudden you are losing on the craps game, and it shows that you're losing most of the time. You're losing on a Friday and Saturday, which is, I can't play on Friday, Saturdays. If I do it, I'm going to lose money. Okay, and maybe that's your case. But if you don't have the exact date and time, in my region, Friday, Saturday, I don't care what time I go there, I'll lose, because I don't know what they do on Thursday night. They do something to the tables. Maybe they clean it, they wax it. I don't know what it is, but suddenly I can't throw nothing, and no, neither can anybody else. So that's it's not me then, right? It's something going on. So you need to find out what day is causing these losses and what time. Okay. Now, if you go on, say like Wednesday, okay, and you're losing, what's going on? All right. Is it because, maybe even details? I always write down that I hit the bonus. I made, $200 something on the bonus, and besides my total winnings for the day, I mentioned something like a bonus in a craps game, because I want to know how many times I'm hitting the bonuses, right? And if you see that you hit the bonus for $200 or something, maybe in your notes put down that it was busy, the craps table was busy, or maybe it was just 2 or 3 players. Usually, I make most money when it's not busy, because it's me and a couple of other guys, right, just playing. That's when I make my most. And is that the time you're making most money? Okay, so then that's when you're gonna have to go, because what happens is you have only 3 players, right? And you don't have all this distraction, people's hands in there. That's what causes sevens. When people start to mess around, especially people that don't know how to play. It constantly and then dealers they don't care. They don't care if they stick their hands in there, because when other players stick their hands in the table, then that causes you to throw a 7. Casino makes money, so they don't care. The thing is you have lots of distraction with numbers, But if there's only 3 of you, I usually have a nice roll because I don't have all that distraction. I may make, I don't know how much, 100 or, anywhere from 60 to $150 for one roll. And then I can examine the next shooter, and if I don't know the shooter, I might not bet anything, I might just do a minimum, just so that, in case the third person doesn't want to shoot, then they're not going to let me shoot again because I didn't have a wager, right? So I'll put $10, $5 or something, and don't buy any odds or nothing, The only rule they have, and don't pay attention to dealers saying, "Oh, you any more bets?" That's for suckers, man. If you don't know the shooter, don't start investing, because everything you work for, now you're gonna lose because of this shooter. You can't shoot or anything. So, I might put like table minimum, which is $10. Or I might just put dollar each on the bonus in case he hits the bonus, because even rookies hit the bonus. $2 each, so the total of $13. That's what I'll invest in that person. And if they're not setting dice, sometimes they get lucky and they keep throwing, but 90% of the time they're gonna throw 7 within the first 2 to 4 rolls. Okay, so I lost $13 on that person, and then it comes the shooter before me, right? So I gotta make sure I have a wager. If he passes, then I shoot next. If he doesn't pass, I still have to have a wager. Otherwise, they're not gonna let me shoot. Okay, so I invest another $13 on that person. So, and then it's back to me. So it seems like I make most money. So this might be a suggestion: is find out when it's not crowded, time of day that's not crowded, and only play then. And of course, you're gonna need this for tax purposes, because unfortunately, in a lot of states, there's a limit to how much you can write off. You owe money on your winnings, but then you can't write off on your losings. This is like crazy, but that's how it works. So, and then you have to prove that you lost the money. Now, sometimes, you could. The only way they've designed it, and this is another thing about a player's card. If you have a player's card, then it shows how much you won, how much you lost, but then you don't want casinos to know who you are, right? And but this is another way they've figured out. Casinos have figured out how to control the players, so that's not going to work. I would never ever mess with the player's card under any condition. For a hot dog, this is insane to expose your identity for a hot dog. That's crazy. And so maybe keep some of your if you have record keeping, then that's legit. You have exact. See, that's what I mean. It has to be exact. In many cases, even court cases, you can let's say like you have a problem with a neighbor noise complaint or something. You go to court, and there's no way to prove that this person is causing all these problems, right? But if you have exact, detailed record keeping of the exact time and date that the person made the noise, the judge will accept that with no problems. And it's the same thing here. You gotta have something, because casinos don't give you a receipt when you lose money, or your record keeping is really all you have. So, and it also keeps your stress levels down, because, like we mentioned before, regardless of how many great days you've had in a row, you can go to a casino and lose $50 and you'll be all upset. That's just how it is. But when you go home and you want to enter that $50 as a loss in your Excel sheet, just go back and look at the few days and how much you won, and then that's not going to hurt as bad. So that's also another benefit. But there are many more. We just can't think of all of them right now. We'll just add to this video. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Goodbye.